new maps released by me for September 2024, and I will demonstrate this using the Drive 52. Now you might be saying, well, wait a second. Garmin is still releasing free map updates for this model, as well as many others. Why would I use an OpenStreetMap based map, such as mine at sat103.com? I'll have that as a pinned comment if you want to download these maps, by the way. Anyway, I'm going to give you an example of why that is. This right here, and just zoom in on that. Right there, there is an HEB grocery. HEB is a popular grocery store chain in the state of Texas, based out of San Antonio, and it goes upward in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's pretty much all over the state. If you're in Texas, you know what HEB is. Think of it as like Kroger, or like if you were in Florida, Publix or whatever. There's one right there. And this is what the current Garmin maps show, is a whole lot of nothing. But if I switch over to my maps, now I'm going to disable all the Garmin stuff first. I'm sorry I went through that fast. Let's slow down a little bit. Okay, settings, map and vehicle, down, my maps. And here is where you can enable or disable map data. So I'm going to go all the way down first. Disable Foursquare, disable Parkopedia, disable national parks, disable US and Canada, and enable, because it's in two parts, for the entire United States. My maps. Now let's take a look. And zoom right in. Oh, that looks a little different. Oh, look at all that. It even says HEB right there. And it's got all the parking lot and the lanes and everything. Just going to leave that there so you can have a good look at it. If you are in the situation where even with a modern model such as the 52, well, actually this is technically discontinued. I mean, the 53, there is the Drive 53, which is more or less like the 52, except it's capacitive screen, this is a matte screen, but as far as the operation of it, not all that different. But even if you had a Drive 53, Drive Smart 66, doesn't matter, because if you use the Garmin maps as they are currently at the time of this recording, you're not going to see any of this, at least for this location. So if there was something like a new apartment complex, a new grocery store, because this is under, I think it's under a year old, pretty sure. Anyway, and you need to see this data when you're traveling about and such. Well, you have to get OpenStreetMap in order to actually see it, and more importantly, so that the Garmin knows how to route to it properly. Because with this OpenStreetMap one, it knows all these parking lot lanes, and it knows the entrance point here and here, whereas it does not, at least I don't think for this, maybe for this one, oh, sorry, maybe for this one, but not for this one, I don't think. Let's get that in view. There we go. So when you need that information, or more importantly, the Garmin needs this information, well, you can get it from OpenStreetMap. That is the whole point. It's not just for older models. A lot of people will put OpenStreetMap on the older models, because specifically the ones that never had lifetime map updates, because that is their only option. But when you do have the option, you do have the current maps from Garmin, it is still not a bad idea to put this in here anyway. If you're in that situation and you need the updated map data, but you also need the search capability of the Garmin maps, well, this is my recommendation for that. I will admit, before even telling you this is a bit of a wonky solution, but I'm going to show you anyway. Generally speaking, if I go back here and you need to look something up, well, then I disable this and enable all the Garmin stuff like that. And then I will go back here and go to where to and perform my search. That is where the Garmin maps are really a whole lot better than OpenStreetMap, is for looking up things like addresses, business locations, this and that and the other thing. Once you get that, you can mark it as a favorite, and then when going to navigate, then you can go back here again and then disable, 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 enable, then go back to your favorites and off you go. And the routing will be different because you will have this extra stuff. It does matter. It does matter. Now, I'm going to say the same thing I've said before about OpenStreetMap. You do not get traffic reporting with this, even if you have a traffic-enabled unit. You do not get lane assistance animations. You do not get junction view imagery. What else? There's a few other things along with that, but basically no speed limit, no junction view, no lane assistance. It's just navigation. That is all you get with OpenStreetMap. Now, in older models that didn't have any of that stuff, well, that's not really a big deal because you're not missing anything. But on newer models like this one, when this 52EX is hooked up to a GTM36 traffic receiver, well then, yeah, I can get traffic with this and so on. Or if I was using a 2599, you know, it's got all the HD information and such and so forth. Or if I was using a DriveSmart 66 with the Garmin Drive app, Bluetooth connected, and so on and so forth, I get a whole bunch of information from that. But using it this way, it gets down to a point of just being a basic navigator at that point. So you have to make the determination for yourself. It's like, okay, what's more important to me? Do I need all that speed limit and junction view, lane assist, all that other stuff? Or do I need better map data? Sometimes a tough choice. Sometimes a tough choice. The one shining thing about OpenStreetMap more than anything else, aside from it being updated more often, is that it has more road data. Now, that doesn't mean more address data. It means road data. And you're seeing it right now, this stuff. Whereas if I go back to the Garmin maps, yeah, this and that and that and that. Get that in there. Yeah, see, that's it. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it does not show. Well, it shows a little bit of where the entrances are, but not like OpenStreetMap does. Yeah. Yeah. But again, that's where OpenStreetMap shines the most, is you get better, more up-to-date road data. Which is why I say to flip-flop back and forth if you want. And you can totally do that with this. You can make the choice for yourself. One final note, again, something else I've said before, but definitely will say again. Two things, actually. First, if you do decide to use OpenStreetMap data on a traffic-enabled unit like this one, disable the traffic. You would do it, well, I don't have a traffic receiver connected right now, but if this was enabled, you disable it, if you're using OpenStreetMap. That prevents it from having software crashes and things like that. And the second thing is, do not have Garmin and OpenStreetMap running at the same time, because you have what's called a map tile overlap potential problem, which can cause a software crash. The worst that can happen is the unit will just sporadically reboot. So to avoid that, just all you have to remember is just don't run both at the same time. And if you're using OpenStreetMap, don't have the traffic enabled. I made a whole video on that. Yeah, it's a few extra steps, but you just want the thing to work. That's all you want. You just want it to work. But even on this 52, sure, OpenStreetMap has its place, and if, or should I say, when the time comes that Garmin stops delivering free map updates, this is something else I've said before too, you might as well get yourself familiarized with how to do this. You might as well. So it's free, it doesn't cost you anything. So again, the maps are at sat103.com. I will have that as a pinned comment. Check them out for yourself.